Now, here's what I think we do today. Let's record a little bit of an aftercast.
Yeah.
So, I just want to say...
I'm telling you this right now. I am actually starting to get a tiny bit nauseous.
Me too.
Just a little bit. Like,
Just a
it's
little.
just right there.
As this was happening, I'm like looking at Tyler, and his face is like, he's got these furrowed brows, and his like, he wasn't turning red, but like, I was seriously like, are you gonna cry, Tyler? What is going on?
Oh.
And then you freaking natural 20 then.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
that-
didn't even need the Bardic Inspiration or anything.
No,
But
but with the way I've been rolling, how dice have been going, I'm like, you're lucky he gave you advantage because I don't think that was your first die.
no, it
That was
wasn't.
not my
That
first
was
dice.
that was his advantage die.
Yeah.
But I think he would have succeeded on because the first die was like, what, a 16?
No, it was like a 9.
I think it was a 9.
Was
Yeah.
it a 9?
He would have.
But this was a 3. That's 12
He
plus...
needed 17.
What do you have for athletics?
Were we gonna add a
Yeah.
suit?
Since I gave you advantage, I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
want
I
to.
do.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, with
'cause I
athletics, that would
wanted
have been
to come
18.
into a lore. Hold on. No. I wanted to do like. Oh, hello, phone. This is the end of the podcast, so we timed it pretty good. I wanted to have a lore-friendly reason about why you were getting advantage or something, and I couldn't think of anything right offhand. And then I was like, "Oh frick!" I'm like, "Just take advantage because you've done this before, tons."
Right, yeah.
And your character out of all of them probably can manage to stay calm the best in high tension situations
Right.
because of his history
Yeah. And
serving in an army, even whether he's conscious of that or not. You know, that comes out in his mannerisms.
Right, exactly.
Fuck. Just so you know in the future, once Wiley hears of this, Wiley's going to be obsessed with the new hero.
Yeah.
His name is Judge. He doesn't care about the assassin anymore.
Hey,
the tale of the assassin anymore.
I'm okay with that.
It's you saved my life. You are now my god. Tell me what to do.
First, heal 8-inch.
Right.
I can't. I don't have feelings.
I
Are
have
we-
to-
Oh no.
I have
Are we
to-
gonna level up?
Not off of that. No.
No. That we didn't do
You guys
anything.
failed that encounter. What are you
Yeah.
talking
Felt
about?
so hard. Giants Grove gone.
So let's talk about these cultists.
So
What the fuck?
here's the thing: is now, I'm pretty sure there's a vessel of this ladder. Whatever is controlling the ladder. Us. They said
We and me.
Yeah.
Me and we.
That character has
Because
a
it's-
vessel that is now embodying
Because-
this golden robe.
Yeah.
Because what was their like fourth ladder or their fourth rung? It was one shall be all and all shall be one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's we and me. Me is we and we is me.
I'm actually just going down. I'm still getting more and more nauseous, and it's not fun.
I know, like looking at you guys, like looking emotionally exhausted is the best feeling for me right now. I'm just like, yeah, you guys.
I've had so many characters die. I'm
This
like,
is-
oh, whatever. But
This is payback for every time I've had to like clap my hands to get the podcast back in track.
I don't know what it is about Wiley that just connects with me so much that I'm like, I don't want him to go. And
I when you rolled that fail, I will admit I felt really bad because I was like, man, this is too early to kill off a character, but okay, I guess.
okay, in all honesty, if Wiley did die, I was gonna beg you to let me play Drell.
To play Drell.
Oh.
Yes.
I can't let you do that.
Oh, so here's what I do in my campaigns. If a character dies,
Yep.
like dies, I give them a permanent. If they want to keep their character, if they want to die, that's fine.
Yep.
But if they want to keep their character, I like cut off a limb or I
I've taken to using
give
that.
permanent stat. Debuffs.
Yeah, I've started to use that in situations where, like with Wiley
Oh,
right now.
it's in the DMs. guys.
Yeah. It's maiming and stuff,
Yep.
like harder death or whatever, where like if they die, oops, now you have a limp and your speed is halved. And so like with Wiley now, he's got this big scar. There is a negative connotation that's going to come with this scar. He just isn't aware of it yet because the situation to reveal that information hasn't shown up.
Right. It just looks like a swastika.
Yeah, you're actually hated by all of
No, I don't even as
the
a
rest
joke, I
the
don't
rest
want
of
that.
Adenac.
Yeah.
You just don't get another scar right there and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I seriously...
it's HW, and everybody's like, oh, your name's Harvey Weinstein.
Okay, I'd rather have a swastika.
I don't. But no, so like, I've taken to like incorporating things like that. However, there is still raise dead spells and other things that do exist, and so
we just have to get to the point where we have them.
Well, one of the big problems with 5th edition D&D when it came out is the creators were like, all right, this isn't going to be like 4th edition or 3rd edition or 2nd edition or 1st edition.
Why are you making them sound like...
Because
like
they're nerds.
Like they're...
Because we don't want people to be playing the game and having things to spend their money on, okay?
As they push up their glasses. But no, like, they came out about it, and they're like, the magic items are meant to be more rare. Magic spells aren't able to be bought. Like, these are supposed to be insanely rare things. And it's like, well, if that was the case, then why put so many options in the games and add, like, 3 new casting classes, so many different subclasses and things? I'm like, I get that it feels more special if, like, one of the characters in the party is casting that resurrection spell. But... just because the option exists in the world doesn't prevent that character from doing it. Let's say you're a high enough level cleric where you can cast resurrection. Cool, you can do that, right? You're not going to not do that just because I have a cleric in another town that can also cast it, right? Mm-hmm. And so I thought that, like, their reasoning between, like, we wanted it to be more rare and feel blah, blah. It was the first time in 5th edition with one of the rules that I looked at and I went, I don't think this one was done properly. It felt like one of the last remaining remnants of 4th edition where it's like, here's a railroad, get on it. You're playing how we want you to play.
Right.
And it's going to be World of Warcraft tabletop edition. Mm-hmm. And
which would be really boring.
Well, it was. 4th edition sucked.
Yeah.
Sorry for anybody who liked 4th edition, but I mean,
You're
wrong.
I understand the, if...
The appeal of 4th edition was for new players.
Yeah, and if you have a very good DM who gets into the role playing, and then when you are fighting, it's just this whole. It's if you separate it, that dramatically.
Yep.
Instead of like we instantly just got in and out of fighting here, it was like meh, whatever. Yeah. So it's. And that's the thing is, in 5e, fighting is much more your role playing, how you're doing it, rather than one of the pick from all this. So, it's like, well, what would I do?
Yeah, and that was one of the things with 5th edition I really liked when I was reading up about it, like as they were before any of the books were out, is because I beta tested it when it was D&D Next, and I really liked that. A lot of the ability checks or what qualifies for this or what does the DM do in this situation, the rule that they had in the PDFs, and even some of them have maintained into the Dungeon Master's Guide when they announced it's 5e, is there isn't a hard and fast rule for this. It's up to the DM's discretion to allow you flexibility. But then turning around on the same dime and having the same book be like, yeah, but magic items aren't available because... we don't want that in the universe, and it's like, what?
Which doesn't make sense because the whole point of D&D is this is a rule set. Create your own world, and universe.
And like, and that was the one thing that it felt very 4th edition to me, where it was like this is a railroad edition. And 5th edition, thankfully, they backed off of that and they started releasing little bits here and there, like, hey, magic spells for this, or like one of the cool things is when the Player's Handbook released. Cure minor potions, they were in just the general goods.
Oh, yeah.
For like 150 gold or something. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really neat because previously you had to go into the DM's guide for that, or you had to brew one. They were a low-level magic item. You had to go to a special place to get them done, or you had to find them in like a treasure trove. They felt more rare in older editions than they did in 5th edition. But they're such a useful common thing that they shouldn't have been. They're easy to make. They take like 4 hours to make or something lore-wise, if I'm remembering.
Is that actually a healing potion?
Yeah, no. They're both healing potions.
Really?
Yep.
Why are they blue? Just to throw us off?
Because there's no mana potions in D&D, so I do blue for health.
Yeah.
Red generally is not health. It's usually something else.
Anger.
Poison.
Yeah.
Green and red's usually
So
poison.
we have one healing potion for a fucking horrible shit clusterfuck. Like
Well, you
this
had two of them.
Yeah.
Because you got one from, was it Frederick?
Yeah.
Yes, one-
Franklin.
Franklin.
Frankie, yes, one from Frankie.
Yep.
And then we took one from Dorfart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took one off the body of Dorfart.
Do I still have the hat of Dorfart?
Oh, I'm sorry. That fell off.
Oh.
We run back.
Wiley runs back.
The circle's
feline.
encompassing the area of the hat.
I
Chelsea
do-
just runs into it.
I do have feline agility, which
What would-
doubles my speed.
Oh, yeah.
What would the
Your turn.
what do you call it? Dexterity be to jump into their circle when she tried to do it?
It was like a 15 or something.
Fuck.
Yeah. Because what
Doesn't
did you end up
matter,
rolling?
you got
with?
a one.
Yeah,
I
you really
really
rolled
want
a
to know
critical.
what would have happened if we would.
I like how the situation was caused by a critical miss and saved by a critical hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Or a critical success. It feels very
No,
complete.
critical hit. I cut his head off.
Yeah. You cut his head
so
off
hard.
so fast that it sears it back onto his body, cauterizes all the wounds, lets the pressure from the brain wound
Yeah.
escape for that split second. Oh, fudge, broken finger. Split second.
Shit.
In case anybody's listening, I have a broken thumb. I've had well, it's less broken now, but it's still sore. And every time you hear me snap, it's because I'm an idiot and I snap with the wrong hand, and that's normally why I snap. And you'll hear like a.
Yeah, because he jizzes every time.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
I love that pain.
Ah!
So anyway, puns. They're punderful. Yeah, I think I really I enjoyed today.
I was
I
seriously.
do too, but I don't know how I'm supposed to feel right now. So it's
Worn out,
Well, like,
exhausted.
so like I was when you made that second fail. I was starting to like figure out how my character is gonna have a fucking meltdown over losing her best friend.
The thing is, like, I knew I was gonna fail the third time, but it's like, no, I've done this before, where I literally had 2 death saving throws. Like, I rolled both in, and then the next 3 I got all successes, and I stabilized. I've done that before.
Yeah.
But this one I was just like, okay, I just need a 10. I got a freaking 8.
And then I failed the fucking medical check, and I was like so pissed. I was
Yeah,
like, just
so-
come on, give me a
so-
fucking
And here's the
break.
thing:
The medical
is
check.
I had this idea of the potions when you were deciding to
Right.
do the thing on it, and then you
I
said something, and I was like, oh yeah, let me look that up, and I spaced on
I
it.
saw you like looking around. And I'm like, oh, am I gonna get him? And 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 then boom! And I was like, yes. So I think this is a good time to take a shout out to our sponsors. What was our sponsor from last week? Butt Rot.
Butt rot.
Butt Rot.
But that's not this week. This week is Crazy Sam's Potion Emporium.
Crazy Sam's Potion Emporium. What? Butt Rot? Frick! Okay. Shoot, I totally forgot. I don't have it set up. It's gotta wait till next week. Okay, so anyway. I knew I was supposed to remember something today. So, actually,
Just
I
remembered when you
want
said
to.
Butt
this is gonna be episode 4 when this goes.
is gonna be episode
episode 3 or episode 4, depending on how I cut them up.
Yeah.
4. Yeah.
Oh, I suppose. I was going to say, well, we do it in a linear, but no, you could do one longer one.
Let's
Yeah.
make it episode 16.
Yeah, so this is
Why
episode
not?
16.
Yeah.
That episode-
Dorfart. What the fuck? Dorfart's here again.
He's from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
The episode's only
he's-
3 minutes long.
Yeah. No, so this is episode 3 or 4, depending on how it gets edited in. And I think this is a good time to say, hey, do you like the podcast? Why don't you head on over to our Patreon page and help us keep making this podcast awesome. It's www.patreon.com/gentlemangames.
I was going to go like, what? We have a picture, but it's that one.
just
It's that one.
It's mine, yeah.
Yeah, it's yours. Okay,
it's easier
okay.
just to incorporate
I was
mine
like,
instead of making
how
a
did
new
you
one.
not tell
Yeah.
us this? This is an important information that we
Now-
don't know.
Now, currently, there's a lot of reward tiers up there that are not being honored, and that's because I haven't been actively using the Patreon page in about a year. I still have some super duper awesome Patreons that just donate out of the kindness of their heart because they love seeing my content or my art or other things. And I'm going to try to restructure things here and aim it around the podcast a little bit or have a couple different tier levels for that. But if you head on over there, you can expect a couple cool extras coming up in the next, I don't know, weeks, months, depending on how fast this takes off, if it takes off, or if anything happens over there to begin with.
We have.
I mean-
we do some like warm up stuff that
Yeah, we
might
do.
show up there.
Yeah.
We do some warm-up exercises to help get into character. So like what we did today, which was one of the first times we did it, and it was really funny, is I generated 4 random NPCs with all their traits and like some sort of
It was interesting.
alignment and descriptor and characteristics, and we played like for 15 minutes as just these like characters, but like not even like any type of like, oh, let's go into this dungeon together. It was literally just like, okay, these characters are all meeting for some reason.
Yeah.
And
It's
how
a very
You
good
just
way-
banter.
It's
Yeah,
a good
it's-
way, yeah,
it's
to
good banter.
stretch out different voices, different. How do you get yourself in the headspace of another person with different views? And
yeah,
stuff like that.
and so that's definitely something that will probably be a Patreon exclusive.
Yeah.
Other things would be something kind of like this, where we have a little bit of like a 10-15 minute after show,
Yeah.
which could be a Patreon exclusive as well. But one of the big things is I wanted to ask you as a listener, what kind of things would you like to see as Patreon rewards?
We could
As
Naked
as of-
pics.
yeah,
I
naked
mean,
pictures.
we could always send nudes. We could do like
as-
shout outs. We could make characters.
Yeah, we could do
names,
like a
so
kind
that-
of like a billboard thing where we
Yeah.
give shout outs to different people. One of the big things right now is these are still on YouTube. We don't have them up on an actual podcasting service at this time yet, and I'm planning on eventually getting it onto a podcast service and pushing it over to Spotify once we get kind of our equipment situated and our kinks figured out. Because man,
those
going to those BDSM clubs
Right.
with Billy and not having your kinks figured out.
But as like equipment.
Chelsea solve her daddy
yeah, no,
issues.
yeah, but
Mercury solve your daddy issues.
And Murphy.
Both of them.
just in a preview of what we're dealing with equipment right now, James has a professional
microphone.
mic.
For when I used to be like a hardcore streamer
Yeah,
and YouTuber.
We have us three are sharing one mic that likes to just not record
Yeah.
every now and then. So we lose footage like an hour to 2 hours a couple of days ago. We had to reshoot
there's been
everything.
2 or 3 different times where we've had to re-record something
Yeah.
because we look and it's like, oh hey, look, it stopped recording and didn't notify us, or oh cool, it corrupted the file.
Yeah.
And so we're
Yeah,
recording
that's
onto
always
2
fun.
different pieces here, and our goal is nothing crazy: a laptop to record into, a 4x4 interface, and a microphone for each player.
That's all we want.
Imagine if everybody on the podcast
on a houseboat, but
yeah, on a houseboat yacht in the Pacific Ocean that we
excuse me,
drive
Caribbean
exclusively into coral reefs.
yeah.
While dumping oil over the side and singing, "Thanks for the donations, British Petroleum."
Yeah. Beautiful.
But yeah,
I have a dream.
I had a dream, and it was as dark as the ocean will be when we're done with it. No, but yeah, so we're working through things, and we're doing awesome here. And currently, right now, the money I'm getting through Patreon is just going, the last few months has just been going to getting more equipment and things kind of figured out for us, and paying off my monthly subscription to Adobe because they're greedy little buttholes, and they're like, give us money every month.
That's how I feel about it.
By this point of how long I've been subscribed to it, I could have paid for like the Creative Master Suite in like CS6 or 6.5 or whatever like 3 times. And that was like $800.
This is how they screw you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their anti-piracy thing, but you can still freaking pirate it.
Right. No,
But so away from that though, let us know down in the comments on YouTube, because this is still on YouTube, what kind of Patreon rewards you would be interested in, what would entice you to consider subscribing, because it's not required by any means. I don't want to put a paywall on our content.
No.
I just want to, for people who feel like they want to help support it, give them extra content to play with. So you're never going to have to pay for our main episodes. I want to make that clear. Because I love this way too much to force people to pay for it and see like
Right.
4 people buy it and not see the fun or the giggles.
Well, from what I look right now, our first episode
Or the
has
emotional
so
turmoil.
far has 33 views, and I'm just ecstatic about that. It's like
Yeah.
33 people took an hour and 15 minutes of their time to listen to our dumb voices being idiots. I mean,
that's all organic too. Like none of that was like, oh hey, I went and posted this here and there and there. But like, that's pretty average, because my channel's fairly dead with the YouTube mod, like the community and how YouTube's like doing everything with their algorithm. Unless I'm uploading content like 3 times a day, until we get like a good organic growth, a lot of people aren't going to see the podcast.
No, that's why.
Which is one of the big reasons I want to get decent equipment and start pushing it over onto Spotify and stuff, because that will get actual growth.
So
Spoofoo.
podcatchers,
Spoofy.
they can grab from RSS feeds, right?
Potentially.
I mean,
How
that's
do
why I
you-
do one of my podcasts is I just get from RSS.
How do you get an RSS feed? It's just hosted on a website, isn't it?
Usually on a website, or you
connected?
use like a host or like some sort of. So YouTube, in the past, I don't know if they still did, had the ability to make RSS feeds out of videos. But I think with their like push for red and everything, they probably got rid of that.
Yeah.
Because like the moment that you stopped being able to play YouTube videos with your phone closed or on a different page or, you know, any of that stuff. Like when YouTube started to be like, all right, we're not making enough money yet.
Let's see. I'll hit download and see what the heck. You can only download it with premium.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. So that's probably a YouTube like red feature, which allows you to like RSS it or something.
well, it's YouTube Premium now. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
Red.
Yeah, because Red failed, so they just
Yeah.
changed the name of it and went, "Hey, let's make this work again."
Right.
But what I'm saying is, like, I have a web domain. I have a website. It doesn't have a page on it or whatever.
But you have like a domain.
yeah, and like Squarespace stuff like that.
We could build
It'd be
something.
like
Yeah.
a second to do that.
Yeah.
So would it be that simple to just Squarespace a thing to host the episodes on?
Well, I think the biggest thing comes from your provider, or not your service provider, but your host. How much bandwidth do you get a month? How much space do you have? Because like I've been looking at a lot of like different things, and one of the big problems I find is like unless we're paying like $200 or $300 a month for like unlimited, we're limited to a couple gigs a month of traffic.
And also, right, because then pulling back down.
Yeah. So our best bet would just be to have like a landing page and maybe just like have a catalog of our videos, like links to each week, or even just embed the YouTube videos on there.
Yeah.
So like you just scroll down like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and like
Dun, 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 dun,
what?
dun, dun. You just made the intro music
Oh.
to a Pokemon fight.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean there's options for us, and just financially right now a lot of the options don't make sense. I think our biggest thing that we should do right now is just focus on getting a little higher quality audio.
That's
Because-
our biggest thing
Yeah.
right now. Is definitely
Because
audio.
I'm not looking at this podcast as a way to make money.
No.
And I don't think we should, because when you start, like, same thing with YouTube. It's like that's the biggest mistake people do is they go into YouTube and they're like, I'm doing YouTube to become a YouTuber and make a living off of it. That's not how you make a living on YouTube. You make a living on YouTube doing something you love and getting lucky. And it's the same with any other kind of media you put out there. You can promote media and advertise it as much as you want, but it doesn't guarantee any level of success. So I would much rather just be proud of what I'm making, be proud of making a high quality content podcast and having fun doing it, than making a high quality content podcast and focusing entirely business side on it.
Right.
If the business side arrives at some point, I'll put effort and time and thought into it.
Well, like when you asked me to be on this, I was thinking for recently, like, man, I just really want to get back into D&D.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
yeah,
you're like, hey,
that's-
want to do a D&D podcast? I'm like, yeah, I don't care if the podcast part of it. I just want to play.
Yeah,
no,
And-
exactly.
You have to realize, me and James have been trying to get a group together for D&D for probably 3 years now. We've had probably about 5 that lasted.
Longer than 3 sessions.
Yeah, but even then, they didn't last too long.
Yeah, we had
And then-
one that I think
Yeah.
the characters made it to level 3 in before
Yes.
people just started not showing up again.
Yeah, which it's like one of those. I understand life gets in the way. Sometimes you
Yeah.
can't make it. Understandable, but when it's every single week, you're
Well,
like,
there
what
was
the-
there was like the one guy that we had joining our games who stopped showing up because I had
Yeah.
different political beliefs than him.
yeah, that was
What
weird.
the hell?
Yeah,
He was like, "Wait, you're liberal?" And I'm like, "Well, not really, but I mean, if looking at what you consider liberal, yes, I'm extremely liberal, even though it's more moderate than anything."
Yeah.
Because if somebody asked me what I am in the current political climate, I would say liberal. But what I actually am is probably middle of the road moderate. But since that will probably never ever work in American politics again, because we're so extremiated on both sides. Complete anarchy. Please burn the system down and start it over. I'm not even kidding. I've been an anarchist for as long as I can remember.
That is true.
And like, I understand there is a place for government. It doesn't necessarily mean I want it, which is, I think, where my like anarchy comes from. Even though
So
anarchy...
you're a Tea Party patriot.
No, I am not. I will pull out my freaking sovereign citizen rights right now off the Articles of Confederation that no longer apply, and I will yell at you so hard until you throw me in jail, and I will scream about how this is illegal. No, like just straight up anarchy. Like, no government, rebuild it, start over, everybody's a moderate again. Awesome. And maybe we can get more than a two-party system. But let's not get into politics on this podcast, because this is a fun podcast for D&D. We can save that one for our like ultra-offended podcasts that we're considering. Do
you wanna fuck? Is that what it says?
Yes, but what is the bandwidth? The bandwidth is the problem with that.
It just says unlimited.
Never believe a website when they tell you unlimited for $12 a month, because they're usually lying. Also, the other big thing is how much storage.
That also says unlimited.
Oh, that sounds good. Who's the host?
Squarespace.
Okay, well maybe
because it's for them for personal website. It's $12. Whatever.
Yep.
Then it's unlimited pages, galleries, blogs, and with unlimited bandwidth and storage, and 2 contributors.
So my only worry about that is it might be a similar situation to when a phone company tells you unlimited. You have
unlimited to a certain point, and then kind of slowed down.
Yeah, then it's slowed down. And I mean, right now, sure, why not? We don't have the audience to really. The big thing is we don't even have the audience to really necessitate a website anyway.
I'm just looking around and all that, but.
Like that would come later on, like once we start a second podcast for a different topic or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, everybody. This has been like about half the length of the podcast, and just us goofing around and talking.
Whoa, honestly, we could probably talk for hours.
This is exactly why I want also a non D&D podcast, because I think we could go really wild with it and have fun. I just don't want to edit that right now while also working 50 hours a week at my full-time job, because it's hard enough. It's hard enough doing this D&D podcast.
Well, I'll talk to you later about trying to find a place where I can learn then to try to help out a little bit.
We'll work in. Yeah, we'll figure things out. But all right, everybody, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I'm James.
I'm Bronson.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Chelsea.
Don't mind Tyler. He's got 2 carrots in both of his noses. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know down in the comments below. Don't forget to join that Bell Squad.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, now that we've officially cringed, we'll see you guys all next week.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Woo.
In the nose.
A Gentleman Games podcast.